Hi, my name is Robbie and you are welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will be teaching you the symmetric functions of quadratic roots. How we are using the alpha and the beta, which is the sum and product of roots, to construct a quadratic equation. And I will be taking advanced questions also, and I will be solving them. So let's dive right into it. So now, let's take a general quadratic equation, which is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Now, let's recall our formula for sum and product of roots. We can recall that x squared minus sum of roots x plus bracket product of roots is equal to 0. So now let's assume alpha and beta be the roots of the quadratic equation. Okay, so our root here, we are assuming that it is alpha and beta. So let's put alpha and beta in this formula here. Okay, so we have x squared minus sum of roots means alpha plus beta because it is sum. So alpha plus beta x plus then product of roots means alpha times beta, which is alpha beta, is equal to 0. So now we have this based on assuming that our alpha and beta are the root of the equation. Now if I come back here, ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. You see here that the coefficient of x here is 1. So let's do the same thing to this one. So ax squared divided by a. So we are dividing through by a. Okay. So a will get a off. So I have x squared plus b over ax plus c over a is equal to 0. So in this case, let's compare this one here with this. We want to compare them. So x squared is equal to x squared, right? Then x is equal to x, which simply means minus alpha plus beta minus alpha plus beta, which is this one, will be equal to plus b over a. So in this case, we can divide through by minus. So alpha plus beta will be minus b over a in this respect. Okay, I'm going to asterisk that because it is important when we continue. Now, plus is plus. Then alpha beta will be c over a. So here, alpha beta will be c over a. So I'm going to asterisk this because this is important as we move on. So in this case now, sum of roots, which is alpha plus beta, is b is minus b over a. Alpha beta is c over a. Now I'm going to show you something now, the symmetric function. Why we call it symmetric function. Now, what is meant by a symmetric function? A function is symmetric when interchanged and it gives the same value. For an example, if I have alpha plus beta, okay, if I say alpha is 3 and beta is 2, so alpha plus beta here will be 3 plus 2, right, which is 5. Now, this alpha plus beta, if I interchange, meaning beta plus alpha, okay, I change it. So will I still get 5? What is beta? Beta is 2. What is alpha? Alpha is 3. So I'm still getting 5. So it simply means alpha plus beta is symmetric to beta plus alpha. So they are symmetric function. Let's see alpha beta. Alpha is 3 and beta is 2. That is 3 times 2, which is 6. If I interchange this, this is beta alpha. What is beta? 2. What is alpha? 3. I'm still getting 6. So it simply means alpha beta is symmetric to beta alpha. This is also what we call commutative property anyway. But now let's check this. 3 alpha plus beta. Okay, let's say alpha is 3 and beta is 2. Here, that is 3 bracket 3 plus 2. This is 11. Now, let's interchange. Okay, beta, that is 3 beta plus alpha. That is interchanging it. Okay, so in this case, this is 3 bracket 2 plus 3. This is 9. You can see 11 is not equal to 9. So 3 alpha plus beta is not symmetric to 3 beta plus alpha. Interchanging simply means where you have alpha, you put beta, and where you have beta, you put alpha. Okay? Now, let's look at this one here. Alpha minus beta. Okay? Let's say alpha is 3 and beta is 2. So this is 3 minus 2, which is 1, right? Now let's see. So now I want to interchange now. Beta, wherever I have alpha, I put beta. Minus, wherever I have beta, I put alpha. So in this case, we will know this will be 2 minus 1, right? Which is minus 1, and this is 1. So, but if I put minus 1 outside here, or minus here, this will be minus bracket 2 minus 3. This is minus bracket minus 1, and this is 1. So 1 is equal to 1. So alpha minus beta is symmetric to beta minus alpha. Why? Because I put minus 1. So a symmetric function is that function when interchanged or when multiplied by minus 1, it gives the same value. I'm going to write it somewhere for you. Now, a symmetric function is a function when interchanged, it gives the same value, or when interchanged and multiplied by minus 1, it gives the same value. This is what I said in the previous slide, but this is what it means. Alpha minus beta. Okay, let's say alpha is 3 and beta is 2. Okay, beta is 2. So alpha minus beta is 3 minus 2, which is 1. Now let's interchange this. If I interchange, that will be beta minus alpha, right? And this will be 2 minus 3, which is minus 1, and is not equal to this. But if I interchange and I multiply this by minus 1, okay? So let's see what we are going to get. This is minus bracket. What is beta? 2 minus 3. This is minus bracket minus 1. This is 1. So you can see I'm getting 1 when interchanged. So when interchanged and I multiply by minus 1, I'm getting the same value. So here, alpha minus beta is symmetric to beta minus alpha when you have minus. If I have alpha squared minus beta squared now, let's say this is 3 and this is 2. So that is 3 squared minus 2 squared. This is 9 minus 4, which is 5, right? Now, if I interchange, that is beta squared minus alpha squared. Okay, this will be 4 minus 9, which is minus 5. You can see this is 5 and this is minus 5, so it's not the same. But if I multiply by minus 1, if I multiply by minus 1 now, so I'm going to have minus bracket 2 squared minus 3 squared minus bracket 4 minus 9 minus bracket minus 5. This is 5. You can see 5 is equal to 5. So alpha squared minus beta squared is symmetric. Symmetric to minus bracket beta squared minus alpha squared. Now, let's take an example using quadratic equation. Now, we have question 1. It says if alpha, beta are the roots of the equation 2x squared minus x minus 2 is equal to 0. Find the values of alpha squared plus beta squared and so on. So, in a case where you are given a quadratic equation and you were told that this quadratic equation, alpha and beta represents the roots, the first thing you need to do is since alpha, beta are the roots, okay? You remember that alpha plus beta, which is sum of root, is minus b over a, and alpha beta is c over a. We derived this formula when we started this video. So that is why I asterisk this formula. It's compulsory that you understand this. So always remember alpha plus beta is equal to minus b over a. Alpha beta is c over a. Now, the next thing is you need to get what is a, you need to get what is b, and you need to get what is c from your quadratic equation given to you. So this is our a. Our a is 2. Our b is minus 1. And our c is minus 2. Okay? You already know how to get a, b, c when we did quadratic formula. For those of you that have not seen my video on quadratic formula method, click on the top right hand corner of this video. So let's continue. So now, here, the question says, question A, we want to get the value of alpha squared plus beta squared. If you recall, or rather than recalling, I will give you set of formulas that you need to know. Okay? I will give you a set of formulas that you need to know. So let's start with this. Alpha squared plus beta squared. This is the same thing as alpha plus beta squared minus 2 alpha beta. So you need to know that this is the same thing as this. Because if you open the bracket, I can easily show you now. Alpha plus beta squared. That means alpha plus beta in 2 places, right? So if you open the bracket, this is alpha squared plus 2 alpha beta plus beta squared. And this is alpha squared plus beta squared minus plus 2 alpha beta. That is just for this one. Okay? Now, you are subtracting minus 2 alpha beta. Okay? So, alpha squared plus beta squared is equal to, we said is equal to this one. And this one here is this already. which is alpha squared plus beta squared plus 2 alpha beta, then minus 2 alpha beta. Remember, this is 2 plus 2 alpha beta minus 2 alpha beta will cancel out. So you can see alpha squared plus beta squared is equal to alpha squared plus beta squared. So this expression on the left hand side is equal to this expression on the right hand side. So you need to know that whenever you have alpha squared plus beta squared, it can still be written as alpha plus beta all squared minus 2 alpha beta. The same thing if you have x squared plus y squared. This will be x plus y squared minus 2xy. Okay, now let's put in our values and get our answer for question A. So now we are putting our values now. So we said alpha squared plus beta squared is equals to this. So what is alpha plus beta? Alpha plus beta is minus b over a. That is minus b over a. Then we have squared, right? And this is minus, then 2. What is alpha beta? Alpha beta is c over a. So this is c over a. So now minus. What is b? B is minus 1. You can see that over a. What is a? 2. So this is squared. Minus 2 bracket. C. What is c? Minus 2 over a. What is a? 2. So here, minus times minus is plus. So 1 over 2 squared. Minus times minus is plus, right? 2, we cancel this 2 here. So we have 2 here. So this is 1 over 4 plus 2. Okay? So, and that is the same thing as 2 over 1. And remember, here, I will quickly put this here. A fraction. If you have this fraction and you want to add, so I will just add, I will multiply this way, multiply this way, multiply this way. B times D is BD. So I've multiplied this way. Okay? A times D, that is, I'm multiplying this way now. A times D is AD. And I have plus. Then multiply this way. B times C is BC. So for this one here, okay, 4 times 1, 4. 1 times 1, 1. 4 times 2, 8. Okay, so this becomes 9 over 4, or 2 or number 1 over 4. So alpha squared plus beta squared is equal to 9 over 4, or 2 or number 1 over 4. Now let's take question B. B, we are looking for alpha minus beta. Okay, I'm going to give you another formula that you need to remember. This will be alpha minus beta squared. This is plus, then minus 4 alpha beta, all square root. So please remember this. Remember. So whenever you are looking for alpha minus beta, this is the formula you are going to apply. So I can show you how this is gotten, but it will just take time in the video. So, but if you expand this, it will give you the same formula. So here, so alpha minus beta is equal to square root of alpha plus beta. What is alpha plus beta? Minus b over a. Minus b over a all squared. Minus 4 alpha beta is c over a. Okay, so all square root. So minus, what is b? B is minus 1. What is a? 2. So this is squared. I'm just putting the value of a, b, c. What is c? minus 2, and what is a? 2. So here, all roots, minus 1, minus times minus plus. So this is 1 over 2 squared, that is 1 over 4. Minus times minus plus. How many 2 can you get in 4? That is 2, right? So 2 times 2, that is 4. Or you say 4 times 2, 8. 8 divided by 2, that is still 4. So here, I can say alpha minus beta is equal to square root of 1 over 4 plus 4 over 1. Remember, you know how to do this already. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 4 is 16. That is 17 over 4. So now, 17 over 4, that means alpha minus beta is equal to root 17 over 4. And root 17 over 4 is same thing as root 17 over root 4. We agree. So this will be root 17. What is square root of 4? That is plus or minus 2. So in this case, we can now generally say alpha minus beta is equal to plus or minus root 17 over 2. Root 17 over 2. So that is the answer or solution for B. Now let's take question C. C, we are looking for alpha squared minus beta squared. Remember that alpha squared minus beta squared is difference of two squares, which is alpha plus beta and alpha minus beta. Okay, so I can say alpha squared minus beta squared is equal to alpha plus beta, which is this one. Now, alpha minus beta is option question B that we did already. And the formula for that was, if you can still remember, the formula for that is square root of alpha, can you see that, plus beta squared minus 4 alpha beta. That is the formula for that. So in this case, alpha plus beta is minus b over a. Okay? Then all root alpha plus beta squared minus 4 alpha beta square root. So this is minus, what is b? Minus 1. What is c? 2. What is a? 2 times everything here already. We did this already in option B, and we got plus or minus root 17 over 2. Minus times minus is plus, so this is 1 over 2 times plus or minus 17 over 2. Okay, so this will be plus or minus root 17 over 2 times 2, 4. You can decide to finish up this, okay? You can decide to say, okay, square root of 17. Let me find my calculator here. So square root of 17 is 4.123. So I can say plus or minus 4.123 divided by 4. Okay? So plus 4.123 divided by 4, or then I use minus 4.123 divided by 4. So alpha squared, beta squared, this is alpha squared minus beta squared, okay, is equal to, now let's divide this one, okay, divided by 4. So this is 1.0307, or we divide it, this is minus 1.0307. So that is that if you want to finish it up. Now let's take D. D is 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta. Okay, this is something as alpha times beta. Alpha beta, beta times 1, beta, alpha times 1, alpha. So this is still the same, alpha plus beta over alpha beta. So the formula for 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta is something as alpha plus beta over alpha beta. So that is the formula we are going to use. Okay, so 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta is equal to alpha plus beta. What is alpha plus beta? Minus b over a divided by, what is alpha beta? C over a. Okay, so this is something as minus b over a is dividing c over a. That is what it means. So here I can say minus b over a. If I change division to multiplication, that means a goes up and c comes down. So a over c. So a we cancel a. You see? So 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta is same thing as saying minus b over c. So here 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta is equal to minus b minus, what is b? Minus 1 over c. What is c? Minus 2. Minus times minus plus, so 1 over minus 2. So that is minus 1 over 2. Now let's take the next question. E, alpha cube plus beta cube. So when you are having cube, sum or difference of two cubes, this is the formula you are going to use. This is the formula you're going to use. Okay, let me explain how this formula is. You can see this is plus or minus. Okay? And this is minus plus. So in our case, we have alpha cube plus beta cube. So in our case, we are using plus. So if you are using plus, the formula is, it says, if you are using plus, you have plus alpha plus beta, then alpha squared, then the next is what? Minus, because we are talking about plus. If you're talking about minus, you will use plus here. So you see, minus, the sign down goes all through. So if you're using minus here, you will use minus here and you will use plus here. If you're using plus here, you will use plus here and you use minus here. So because we have plus, I'm using plus, plus, minus. So minus alpha beta plus beta squared. So this is the formula we are using. Okay. Now, remember that I can rewrite this as alpha plus beta. Remember, this is alpha squared plus beta squared. Alpha squared plus beta squared. Then minus alpha beta, right? Okay. We can still rewrite this. Remember, alpha squared plus beta squared. We have done that in option A already. We know our answer for that. So let's just put what we have in here. So now we have alpha cube plus beta cube is equal to alpha plus beta is minus b over a, right? Okay. Alpha squared plus beta squared. What did we get? Remember, I think I wrote it somewhere. We got 9 over 4 for that. 9 over 4. This is, we got 9 over 4 for this. And this is same thing as question A. Then minus alpha beta is c over a. Okay? So minus b is same thing as 1 over 2. Minus b over a is 1 over 2. This is 9 over 4 minus c over a, that is minus 2 over 2. Okay? So alpha cube plus beta cube is equal to 1 over 2 bracket 9 over 4. Minus times minus is plus. So 2 cancel 2, that is 1. Okay? So 1 over 2. Here, you already know how to do this. 9 over 4 plus 1 over 1. So 1 times 4, 4 times 1, 4. 1 times 9, 9. 4 times 1, 4. So that is 13 over 4 here. So this is 13 over 4. Okay, so we have 13 over 4 in that case. So in this one here, we can say 1 times 13, that is 13. 2 times 4, that is 8. So alpha cube plus beta cube is equal to 13 over 8. Or I can say one whole number, that is 8, then 5 over 8. So 13 over 8, or one whole number, 5 over 8. Now, question F. Pause the video and do question F. Then we can check if you are correct or wrong. So let's check if you are correct or wrong. So F, alpha cube minus beta cube. Remember, here, I'm using alpha minus beta. Open a bracket, alpha squared, okay, plus alpha beta plus beta squared. Okay, remember when I was talking about plus or minus beta cube, and I said you are going to use what you have up for what you have up and what you have down for what you have down. So here, because our question is minus, I'm using minus, minus, and plus. That is why we have that. Okay, so just for you to remember that. Okay, let's see if you are correct now. So alpha minus beta, we have done that in question B before. We've done this here, and when we did that, we got plus or minus root 17 over 2 for that. When we did this, that is what we got. Then alpha squared, I can say alpha squared plus beta squared plus alpha beta. Let's write that first. This is plus or minus root 17 over 2. So alpha squared plus beta squared, that is what we did in option A here, question A, and we got 9 over 4 for that. Plus alpha beta is C over A, and that is minus 2 over 2. Minus 2 over 2, that is minus 1. Right? So alpha cube minus beta cube is equal to plus or minus root 17 over 2 bracket 9 over 4 minus 1. So 9 over 4 minus 1, that is 4 times 1, 4. 1 times 9 is 9. 4 times 1, 4. That is 5 over 4. Okay? So that is 5 over 4. So in this case, I have alpha cube minus beta cube is equal to plus or minus root 17 over 2. And this is 5 over 4. Okay, so let's see how to finish up this. So plus or minus root 17. Let's get root 17. Okay, square root of 17. I'm pressing calculator here. So that is 4.123 over 2. Okay, times 5 over 4. I'll press calculator also for this one. 5 over 4 is 125. 125. Okay, so I will say 4.123 times 125. So 4.123 times 125. 1.25, sorry. So I will have plus or minus 5.15375 divided by 2. So alpha 3 minus beta, alpha cube minus beta cube is equal to, I will divide this by 2 when it is plus, and I will divide it by 2 when it is minus. So it's the same thing as 5.15375 divided by 2. So that will be 2.576 or minus 2.576. Easy. Yeah, easy as that. But remember, you can still leave your answer here by saying 5 times root 17. That is 5 root 17, right? Over 2 times 4, that is 8. And you have plus or minus. You can still leave your answer this way. This one here and this are the same. So it depends on the options that you have. Okay? But if it is a theoretical question, I will leave it with 2.576 or minus 2.576. But if it is an objective, they might just leave it as plus or minus 5 roots 17 over 8. Now let's take question G. G, alpha raised by 4 minus beta raised by 4. I can write this one as alpha squared, all squared. This is still alpha raised by 4. And the same thing here, all squared. This is the same thing as beta raised by 4. Now, this is now difference of two squares. So, I can rewrite these as alpha squared plus beta squared and alpha squared minus beta squared based on difference of two squares. This one here is question A, we have done that. And this one here is question C, we have done that. So we can just put value. So for question A, if I remember, we got 9 over 4 times. For question B, which is alpha square minus beta square, we got plus or minus root 17 over 4. So plus or minus root 17 over 4. So in this case here, I can write 9 times plus or minus root 7. That is plus or minus 9 root 17 over 16. But like I said, it depends if it is theoretical question or multiple choice. So for me, I can just press calculator now. Okay, 9 root 17 divided by 16. Let's see. So I'm going to have plus or minus 2.319. So that means alpha raised by 4 minus beta raised by 4 is equal to 2.319 or minus 2.319. Now let's take the last question, H. Alpha raised by 4 plus beta raised by 4. I can still write this one as this, as you already know. Okay, so now remember that for our A, alpha squared plus beta squared is almost saying our alpha here is alpha squared, our beta here is beta squared. So let's recall that alpha squared plus beta squared, we got alpha plus beta all squared minus 2 alpha beta. That is what we got for this. So here now, I will say alpha raised by 4 plus beta raised by 4 is equal to alpha squared. You see this squared here is same thing as this one, and this squared here is same thing as this one here. So my alpha squared is same thing as my alpha in this expression. So alpha means alpha squared, beta means beta squared, all squared minus 2 alpha beta. So alpha is alpha squared, then beta squared. You see that? So in this case, you already know alpha squared plus beta squared, what we got. So this is same thing as saying alpha plus beta all squared minus 2 alpha beta, which is alpha squared plus beta squared is already this one here. Then you have squared, which is outside, minus 2, which is 2. And this is alpha beta, and they are both having square, so square can be out. So the formula for alpha raised by 4 plus beta raised by 4 is alpha plus beta squared minus 2 alpha beta all squared, then minus 2 alpha beta squared. So let's put our formula now. Alpha plus beta squared. Alpha plus beta is minus b over a squared minus 2 alpha beta is c over a. Okay? Then alpha beta c over a. So here we have alpha raised by 4 plus beta raised by 4. So b over a is minus b over a is same thing as 1 over 2. So 1 over 2 squared, that is 1 over 4, minus c over a, that is minus 2 over a, which is minus 1. Okay, so all squared, then minus 2 bracket. C over a minus 2 over 2, that is minus 1, so minus 1 all squared. I'm just putting the values of a, b, and c. So 1 over 4 minus times minus, that is plus 2 all squared. Minus times, this is 1 square, minus 1 square, that is 1, so that is minus 2 here. Okay, so 1 over 4 plus 2 over 1. 4 times 1, 4. 1 times 1, and this is 8. That is 9 over 4. So we have 9 over 4. So this is 9 over 4 squared minus 2. Okay? 9 over 4 is same thing as 81 over 16. Then minus 2. That is what it means. So alpha raised by 4 plus beta raised by 4 is equal to. Now I'll press calculator here. So 81 divided by 16, then minus 2. Okay, so that is 49 over 16. So this is 49 over 16. Easy. Or you can just say 49 divided by 16, you leave it in decimal. That is 3.0625. Now, question 2. If alpha, beta are the roots of the equation 3x squared plus 5x minus 1 is equals to 0, construct equations whose roots are this. The first thing you need to do here is to identify your a, b, and c from the quadratic equation given to you. So the quadratic equation given to us is 3x squared plus 5x minus 1 is equals to 0. So my a is 3, my b is 5, and my c is minus 1. And for this quadratic equation, we were told that the roots of this quadratic equation is alpha, beta. So definitely, alpha plus beta is minus b over a, as we know. Alpha beta is c over a. So let's get alpha plus beta. Alpha plus beta is minus 5 over 3. Alpha beta, which is c over a, that is minus 1 over 3. So we have identified the sum and product of the roots for this equation. So now let's go to the question. The question says that you should construct a quadratic equation given that these are the roots. And remember, when you are constructing, you always use this formula, variable square, right? Minus sum of roots variable plus product of roots is equal to 0. This is the formula we use. So here, in the equation given to you, already know they're talking about variable x. So we already know here that our variable is x. But let's get the sum. Let's get the sum and product of this first. So let's put it here. Sum of roots, root alpha comma root beta. What is the sum? That is alpha plus 5 alpha 5 beta. So this is 5 alpha plus beta. This is the sum. Now let's get the product. Product of roots 5 alpha 5 beta. That is, I'm multiplying 5 alpha times 5 beta. So this is 25 alpha beta. So that is the sum and this is the product. So variable squared is x squared minus sum of roots. What is our sum of roots? 5 comma alpha, 5 bracket alpha plus beta, then variable, that is x, then plus product. What is our product of roots? 25 alpha beta, which is equal to 0. Okay, so here alpha x squared minus 5. What is alpha plus beta? Alpha plus beta, we've established that here as minus 5 over 3. That is x. This is 25. Alpha beta, we've established that here as minus 1 over 3. So this is x squared. Minus times minus is plus. 25 over 3x. Plus times minus is minus. 25 times 1, 25 over 3 is equals to 0. Now, the LCM here is 3. We can multiply through by 3. So multiply through by 3. Okay? So that means 3, we multiply x squared. 3, we multiply 25 over 3x. And 3, we multiply 25 over 3. And 3, we multiply 0. That is what is meant by multiply through by 3. So this will be 3x squared. 3 we cancel 3. This is plus 25x. 3 we cancel 3. This is minus 25 is equals to 0. So the roots of this this root is now constructing this quadratic equation. So the root of this quadratic equation is 5 alpha comma 5 beta. That is how to do that. Let's take question B. Now question B. Question B, the root is giving us alpha squared minus beta squared, and we want to construct a quadratic equation for this. So the first thing is you want to get sum of roots. Sum of roots, these are the roots, right? So let's get the sum. That is alpha squared plus beta squared. Okay? Remember, alpha squared plus beta squared is alpha plus beta all squared minus 2 alpha beta. We saw this from the previous question that we did. Then product of roots alpha squared minus beta squared. We want to get the product, that is alpha squared times beta squared, and that will be alpha beta all squared. So now let's put it in the construction. In construction, you see x squared, right, minus sum of roots. What is our sum of roots? Our sum of roots is alpha plus beta squared minus 2 alpha beta, then variable, then plus product of roots alpha beta all squared is equal to 0. So s squared minus. Now what is alpha plus beta? My alpha plus beta, we have established that here as minus 5 over 3. So that is all squared minus 2 bracket. Alpha beta is minus 1 over 3. This is x. Then plus alpha beta is minus 1 over 3 squared is equals to 0. So x squared minus 5 squared, that is 25. Then 3 squared, that is 9. Okay? Minus times minus, that is plus. This is 2 over 3 x. So plus minus 1 squared is 1, 3 squared is 9. So this is 1 over 9 is equals to 0. So minus. Now, this one is 9, 25 plus 6. That is x plus 1 over 9. Okay, so x squared minus 25 plus 6, that is 31 over 9x plus 1 over 9 is equals to 0. What happens here, you have to multiply it through by 9. Okay, so that will be 9 bracket x squared, 9 bracket 31 over 9x, 9 bracket 1 over 9, okay, and 0 times 9. So at the end of the day, I'm going to have 9x squared, this we cancel this, minus 31x, this we cancel this, plus 1 is equal to 0. So the root of this equation is this. So we have used this root to construct this equation. Now let's take question C. C, 1 over alpha, comma 1 over beta. We want to construct quadratic equation using this root. So the first thing here is that we need to do sum of roots. Sum of roots. These are the roots. So let's do the sum. Sum means I want to add 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta. This is same thing as alpha beta, then alpha plus beta. Right? We've seen this in the previous question. Then product of roots. These are the roots. So product means 1 over alpha times 1 over beta. And that will be 1 over alpha beta. So here, let's use our equation when constructing. That is x squared minus sum of root. Our sum of root is this here, as we have gotten, which is this one, and x plus product of roots. Our product is 1 over alpha beta is equals to 0. So x squared minus plus alpha plus beta is something as minus 5 divided by 3. So minus 5 divided by 3. That is alpha plus beta, and this is division here, so I'll put it like this. Okay, alpha beta is something as minus 1 over 3. This is minus 1 over 3. This is x plus. This is 1 over alpha beta is minus 1 over 3, right? So let me put it like the way I did for that too. 1 divided by alpha beta is minus 1 over 3 is equals to 0. So x squared minus, this is minus 5 over 3. Remember, if I change this division to multiplication, 3 will go up, minus 1 will come down. So 3 and minus 1, that is x. Plus, if I change this division to multiplication, 3 will go up, minus 1 will come down. Okay? So this is x squared minus. Minus times, minus cancel minus here, and 3 cancel 3. So we only have 5x. Okay? Plus times minus is minus. So 1 times 3 is 3 is equals to 0. So we have gotten this quadratic equation using this root. Now let's take the last question, D. Alpha plus 1 over beta, beta plus 1 over alpha. So sum of roots. Sum is, I have to add the roots together. So this is it here. So this is alpha plus beta plus 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta. Okay? So I can still say this is the same thing as this. Okay? Right? Good. Then I can say alpha plus beta, this is this, plus this is same thing as alpha beta, alpha plus beta. Okay? That is sum of roots. Then product of roots. Product means alpha plus 1 over beta is multiplying beta plus 1 over alpha. Okay, so if you multiply this one, this times is alpha beta plus alpha over alpha plus beta over beta. Let me write it very well so you can actually see it. So beta over beta plus 1 over alpha beta. So this one is alpha beta plus alpha cancel alpha, alpha cancel alpha, so that is 2. This because this is 1 and this is 1 plus 1 over alpha beta. So that is the product. So let's put the values here so we can actually get what we need. Alpha plus beta is minus 5 over 3, minus 5 over 3 plus alpha plus beta here is minus 5 over 3 and is dividing alpha beta, which is minus 1 over 3. Okay, so this is minus 5 over 3, this one here, plus minus 5 over 3. If I change this division to multiplication, that is 3 over minus 1, right? So 3 we cancel 3, minus we cancel minus. So here I have minus 5 over 3 plus 5. I will quickly press calculator here, okay? I'll just press calculator there. Minus 5 over 3, okay, plus 5. So this is 10 over 3. 10 over 3. I've gotten 10 over 3 for sum of roots. Now, for product of root, let's put our value here. Alpha beta is minus 1 over 3 plus 2 plus alpha beta is minus 1 over 3. So if I say 1 over minus 1 over 3, that will be minus 3 over 1. Okay, I'll press calculator for that also. So press calculator. Minus 1 divided by 3 plus 2 minus 3. So that is minus 4 over 3. Minus 4 over 3. Okay, so I've gotten my sum of roots and I've gotten my product of roots. But remember that if you are using the formula, that is x squared minus sum of roots. Our sum of roots is 10 over 3. Then x plus product of root minus 4 over 3 is equals to 0. So this is x squared minus 10 over 3x minus 4 over 3 is equals to 0. You can decide to multiply through by 3. If I multiply through by 3, this will be 3x squared minus 10x minus 4 is equals to 0. So this is the quadratic equation given these roots. Wow, congratulations, you were able to stay to the end of this video. In my next video, I will be solving lots of examination questions to boost your confidence and give you deep understanding with a lot of shortcuts of getting your solution when given multiple choices. So hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.